Marlene, how are you today?
I'm not going to flash anything. Stop that, Melissa.
Here's first question. So we started getting these huge lemons growing in the middle of our orange tree. What's going on?
Okay, so this question, I love when I get this question. I shouldn't say that because that means there's actually something going on with your citrus, but almost every single citrus you encounter is grafted. So they take a rootstock of a different plant and they graft the desirable fruit on top. And what happens is many times that rootstock will take over and then you'll get the fruit, or at least the growth of that rootstock. And one of the major plants that they graft onto is a pomelo, which is this big, giant, lemony type fruit. And you can grow that and it is edible, but of course that's not the plant you planted and want. So what you want to do is travel all the way down to the ground below the graft line. Sometimes the graft line's hard to tell. Usually it's just sort of a knotty base, and it's either coming from below the soil line or right below that graft, and you want to remove any foliage and any branches coming from it. A lot of times they'll be taller than the existing plant. They'll have thorns, whereas your orange tree won't, but they're sucking energy and from your plant that you want. So you can leave it, in this case, if you want to harvest those, but almost every single time it is best to remove it because that's what's going on generally.
Okay, here's another one. This is a kind of a cool little plant. It says, I bought a Cape Sundew and it spent a lot of time with minimal light. I bought an LED light, but I think right now it's too late to save.
That's actually looking pretty darn nice. This is a carnivorous plant. What happens is there's fake nectar growing on those leaves and small insects will land on it and then the plant will digest the insects from the top of the leaf. So that's how it gets its nutrients. They like full sun, so think about them growing in open, boggy areas where there's nothing giving them shade. So yes, grow them outside or a very, very sunny window or under an LED light. That's great. That plant looks good to me. I have a lot of faith that that plant's going to do just fine, especially since you gave it the LED light. Remember, your carnivorous plants do not want tap water or fertilizer or regular soil. They want peat moss and sand, and you want to keep them in trays of standing pure water. But I think you're doing a good job. The LED light, that was a good choice to do, but it looks good to me.
Okay, here's another one. I just brought this plumeria in from the cold and noticed a big gash on it. Should I cut it? It still has flowers and leaves. It's got a boo-boo.
It does. So the plumeria, those are those really nicely scented flowers, and that is an old wound. So that happened a while ago. You notice how it's starting to callus over. Now, I would normally say with a plant that grows relatively fast, like a plumeria, once it's happy, go ahead and prune that. But if there's still flowers and there's a good amount of leaves, that wound's been there, it's callusing over, I say go ahead and leave it now. You're eventually going to prune your plumeria different ways once those start getting bigger. So go ahead and leave it if it has flowers and leaves. It's not new. It's healing just fine. So I would prune it when it is time to prune them down the road.
Okay, there you go. Instagram at Simon Says Garden and Facebook, Marlene the Plant Lady, all one word. She's going to be sticking around. So make sure you send in your questions, theplantlady at kmaxtv.com.
Well, Catterday is so